Okay, we are officially live on social media. This is Reflection Artist Live, episode number 57, and it is the week of Christmas, hence the hat. Uh, again, Reflection Artist Live number 57. We have special guests with us today, Kyle Clark, who is a CD and SV and also owner of Xtreme Detailing in Southern California. He's been in business for 13 years, been in the industry for pretty much the same amount of time. Super involved, fellow detail mafia member, IDA. I mean, he's fully invested in not just his craft, but on the industry side. And we want to kind of just talk with Kyle today and get his background and what it's taken in that path to get to where he is today and kind of get some background on him. So Kyle, of course, thank you for taking the time out. Oh, needless to say, you are a Reflection Artist demo team member as well. So
Yeah.
we're pretty close, sometimes attached to the hip, especially if we're at AFO. But outside of that, I know Kyle really, really well. But I'll let you guys hear him out on his story and his background and how he got involved in the wonderful world of detailing as we know it.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. Hold on, I'm just sharing this on my personal social media. I went to Reflection Artist to let it blow up a little bit. So yeah, I've been detailing officially business licensed for 13 years. Before that, since I was 13 years old back in 1998, I've been cleaning people's cars. I used to clean people's vehicles from the city. I was about a mile away from my house, and my dad was a police officer. So I would go and have people drop their cars off, or my mom would pick up people's cars, drive them to the house. I would do what I used to think was a full detail, and then take it back. And I was making really good money as a teenager, a lot more money than my friends were making. And, it was all cash business back then. So,
And what were you at that time? I mean, were you smart about your money? I'm sure you were, but were you
oh
putting it
yeah,
away? And I mean,
yeah.
teenager having money, that's, it's a catch 22, right? You want to have some fun as well.
Well, I never needed, to ask mom and dad for money for things. I always had money. I used to mow lawns too when I was a kid. 13 years old. I was already working since I was like 9, mowing
Yeah.
lawns. My parents had an apartment complex, and so I used to do a lot of that stuff. But no, if I made $100 back then on a detail, which was like, $100 for a detail then was a minivan inside now, eight
Like
eight
a,
to
it's like a
10.
$500 detail now.
So I would take and go put, I'd take like, $10 because I got to pay my tithing, got to pay the Lord. And I'd take about $20 for myself, and I would go put the rest in the bank. And I had a lot of money in the bank for, growing up, and I would just put it in my savings. I would ride my bike down to the credit union, which is a mile or two from my house, and go deposit it. And I did that for years until when I got my driver's license at 17. Then I would go pick up people's cars, but I had to pay for the truck, right? I had to buy the truck that I wanted. So that's the first time I really ever pulled money out of my savings. So that's a lot of times, 13 years old to 17, putting money away regularly.
At least you
So,
had the money though to back yourself on
yep,
getting that
I've
truck.
never needed, or I've never taken out a loan to grow my business per se, until I bought my van a few years ago. That was the first time I ever financed anything. So just reinvesting constantly in my own products and my own equipment. Funny thing, I like this story a lot because just kind of how entrepreneurial, some of us can be. When in high school, all my friends wanted a party when they graduated high school, right? Or some of them wanted a stereo system or a new car. I wanted a carpet extractor. So I got a carpet extractor as my high school graduation gift.
Nice.
And I bought a really nice, like 12-gallon Galaxy from EDIC, and I still have it. I'll probably never get rid of it. I never use it anymore, but it's actually sentimental to me, because it represented, the direction I wanted to go in my life. This is what I wanted. And I got what I wanted. So
Yeah, that's kind of sentimental. I have an old toolbox when I bought my business that came with the business from the gentleman before me. That could I get a go get a new one? Yeah, but I kind of just let it sit there because it's kind of a reminder. It sits in my shop. It's a nice old Craftsman red one, traditional, right?
yeah,
And it just sits there, and I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of where what I came from.
that's
That kind
funny.
of, yeah.
I have a couple other things. I have my first rotary polisher, my big yellow DeWalt.
Oh, the
Uh,
brick.
yeah. I would say that's the first one I ever purchased. I have my dad's, um, I don't know who the brand, I'll have to look it up. The big, chrome looking grinder, 1-speed grinder that I learned how to buff with. And so I have that still. I don't have my first porter cable. That thing was, it grenaded years ago.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I probably went through like 7 porter cables over time until I got my first flex. But between the rotary and the porter cable, that's how we used to do it. And I remember, like, you remember how porter cable came with that one white foam pad?
Oh yeah. What do you do with this? Why is it
and,
here?
and you could attach it, and then it would rip to shreds after you use it. So I would glue another pad to it or something. And then they came out with the conversion for that, the adapter for it, so you could actually put a Velcro pad on. That was pretty high tech then. So I had a bunch of porter cables, and I had a bunch of Harbor Freight tools that I destroyed super quick. So that's kind of where I learned to always buy quality tools. I'll say that: quality products, quality tools, quality buffing pads. Because it's not fun to be working and have something break on you. So
No. Or have to constantly spend in the same category when you could have only spent once.
yeah, when I first built my detailing trailer in 2008, I put one of those cheap yellow Champion generators in it, and custom built an exhaust pipe for it, so it wasn't heating up the box on the front of my trailer. That stupid thing, I think I bought 3 of them
Oh damn.
before I realized, okay, this thing is garbage. I worked the hell out of it. It was running all day long. Let's buy, a $3,000 generator, like the Honda EU 3000 was a lot of money. I still have the same Honda EU 3000 today.
Yeah.
And it's just a champ, man. Buying the quality the first time, I would have paid for half of that generator already, buying the other 3. So change the oil, change the battery, clean it. It goes, man. Never fails. And so that's another lesson, to always buy the quality equipment, and not go cheap.
No, yeah, I 100% agree, because that's something I learned myself with getting into detailing. I mean, in general, right? I mean, even prior to detailing, when I would help out doing like demo jobs or something that was construction related, when you're buying tools, I mean, like you had mentioned Harbor Freight, right? It's one of those companies where you buy it and use it once just to get you by if that's all the job requires. But if you're looking to do it for a daily and or for making money as a craft, whatever the case may be, long term, you got to go quality. You get the best return on investment usually that way. And don't get me wrong, there are some hiccups with some quality brands as well, but
Yeah,
it's filtering and, or I should say, navigating through that, knowing which ones to purchase and just doing your homework.
yeah, definitely. You understand over time that when you use quality, you produce quality, and it makes it easier on your life, less stress. Not, you know, I've always, you have this efficiency. If my trailer or my van now breaks down or something that's a problem in the middle of a job, can't finish that job. And so to the point where I have a backup pressure washer or a pressure washer hose in my van all the time, because I've been working before and I had a pinhole pop in the hose. What do? You disconnect it, you go grab the backup, you slap the backup on, and you get back to work.
Yep.
Then you go have that other one repaired, you put it back on, and you move on with life. But it's always been that way for me. I've just realized I'd rather have and not need, and maybe that's the Eagle Scout in me, because I was an Eagle Scout. I'd rather be prepared and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Now, as you grew into your business those first couple of years, at what point did you feel was necessary and see value in going after some additional training to help grow yourself and your business?
It's a good question. So about 9 years ago, I, was a college student. I was married. I had my business. I was trying to get my degree done, and I had to decide, because we were having our first daughter, our first child. And I was like, okay, do I pursue criminal justice? That was the degree I was going after. Or do I make this detailing thing as an actual business? Because detailing 10 years ago was still kind of not a trade, per se. It was there, but
It wasn't recognized at the level it is now.
yeah. And I was like, am I going to be part of that group that makes it a trade, or am I going to go do something else where I have, a set schedule? I know what I'm making every year. I have benefits. What do I do? So I decided to, I looked into trainings all over. There were a few that were offered at that time. This is kind of, the 2008 market crash time. And there were some trainings that were still available. And I ended up settling with and deciding to go with Detailing Success with Rennie Doyle and Diane Doyle. I actually went to Vegas for SEMA just to meet Rennie and figure out if that's the route I wanted. And his training was by far one of the more expensive trainings, but it was also from the syllabus online, more in depth. And I saw the value there, even though it cost more. I kind of looked at the other trainings where it was like, $300, $400, $500 for like a day or 2-day class. I'm like, that seems really cheap for what I want to learn. I want to learn skills to take this to the next level. Or I'm not just looking to, have someone teach me how to put wax on a car,
Yeah. Those low entry trainings don't necessarily always offer great value.
Exactly.
It's very standard. Don't get me wrong, for a newbie.
Especially by looking at the syllabus, right? What was included literally was like how to wash a car, what's clay, how to use a dual action polisher. Cause we didn't have like Flex and Group S were still really young then. And as far as in the States, they were around, but not, it was still Porter Cable, right? And so this was more like what is paint correction. And I feel like for the last, 9 years, man, the industry's changed a lot. And those people, those founders in the IDA and others that led the way for you and I, we've just taken it to that next level. They give us that foundation to really to make it an industry. And it was a struggle, man. I don't know if you remember, but after training and stuff, ceramic coatings, I had to beg people. I coated my truck, and I had to be like, hey, pour water on my truck. Here, throw your coffee at my truck.
Yeah, it was an uphill battle for sure.
I had to beg people. Now I get calls all day long. Hey, I want a ceramic coating. I'm like, holy cow. That never happened. You know, people
Yeah,
thought it
now
was
they're begging you.
yeah. And people thought it was snake oil. And literally, I mean, I remember talking to people for hours just to sell them on a basic coating, you know, and it's great. So yeah, training definitely helped me, and it helped me decide to pursue this, make it a career. Now I have 2 daughters, and I make a living. I have 3, sometimes 4 employees. We're actually right now, you can see here on the screen, there's an engine behind me. We're at it on an airport tarmac. So I brought my truck so I could sit here and talk to you today. But my guys, I'm watching them in my windshield. They're cleaning the underside of a Boeing 737 right now. So the opportunities that came to me because I went through training and built that confidence in my skills, and then my business skills have just exploded.
I think that just to touch on that, opportunities, right? You know, you could have gone to a $300, $400, $500 class. But if the network wasn't there for the net worth of those opportunities, then that would have been, once you left the class, that would have been done. That would have been it, the end of the road for the class. You got the short training for whatever the class covered, and then that's it. This, on the other hand, like you just mentioned, that more invested kind of approach, yes, it was a higher dollar amount financially, but the return on that and the net worth that followed that, because of the networking that gave you so many opportunities, that just skyrocketed for you. You can't even put a number on that.
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, they always say, be around those people, right? Be around the people that you want to be like. And so I put myself in that position to build it. And the opportunities come through the confidence. Would I say that I probably would have learned a lot of these skills? Yeah, just because the person I am, but it would have taken twice as long.
Yeah,
I would not
eventually.
I would not be where I am right now. You know, just we go in different paths, and I chose this path, and it served me well. And it's brought me other opportunities that have been really great for me and for my family and for my employees. And it's allowed me to learn how to be a boss, right? Because here's the deal, dude. I never had a job. I've never been an employee of anyone my whole life. I'm 36. I had to learn how to do HR stuff. I had to learn how to do payroll. I had to learn taxes, and, you know, and I took entrepreneur when I switched from criminal justice to business and entrepreneurial with an entrepreneurial focus. There's guys teaching that class that have never had a business. And so you're not learning from entrepreneurs in college, most cases. So it was really interesting to me that I had to learn all these things. They didn't teach me that.
No, I consider them textbook junkies. They know really well what the textbook says and they live by it, but they can't walk it.
And probably one of my favorite professors was an econ professor, because he actually knew economics. He actually had a business. He actually left his business because he had an opportunity to do this. And so he understood those things. And that's where I learned, you know, a lot about opportunity costs and efficiencies and all those things that a business owner should. So, yeah, training led to going and wanting to learn more. And I would have never been where I am now had I not made the decision to go spend, man, do you remember back then? I'm going to throw this out. Do you remember, like, when you went to buy a polisher, or, you know, you're like, oh man, $300. Oh crap. You know, I remember when I was newly married, I bought like $150 hose. And it was like, I stressed over $150.
Yeah. My first flex, I was like, oh my God, this thing's expensive.
Holy crap.
Oh my goodness. And
and I just sent 3 to get repaired. Uh, and I just got another one, and now it's like, I don't know, it's kind of weird, dude. It's just weird that where we get, I needed some equipment, and I'd rather, use the tax code now to buy that equipment and use that as a write-off. So I'm like, oh shoot, just buy it. Yep, here we go. Here's a credit card. I would have stressed like crazy over buying a, new pressure washer. Now I don't even think twice because I see the value. I see I'm going to need it. And, if my pressure washer exploded today, I literally could go home and rebuild it completely and have it back to work tomorrow. So you spend money differently and that's becoming an entrepreneur. You see value in things, not prices of things.
Mm-hmm.
And just like training, I saw value in spending $3,000 or $4,000 to go spend a week at training. And I didn't see the value in the $300 or $400, $500 training that was a day, right? Pretty much the same amount of money every day, but I went to a 4 or 5 day class instead of a 1 day class. I learned a lot more.
Yeah, and the amount of value that's in that day in and day out routine of that curriculum, it's embedded in you more than just a quick day. Don't get me wrong, I do 1 day extreme trainings, but knowing from experience what a 5 day course does to you versus a 1 day, there's only so much that most people will retain as a human being.
Yeah, but you do the 1 day extremes, and I know what's covered in that curriculum. It is 1,000 times more than what was offered 9-10 years ago for those other classes. And I'm not going to say who they are because we know who they are.
Yeah, well, you're in SoCal, right? Where that's the capital of detailing. I mean, there's a lot more opportunities there with that. Yeah.
Well, and I could have, even going to Florida and doing a class there. There was other options, right?
Yeah.
I actually looked at Mike's class, not anything against Mike, but his was more about paint. I didn't just want to learn paint. I wanted interior stuff too.
And business.
And some of these classes, a lot of them were geared to enthusiasts. A lot of them were geared to car wash or dealership detailing. There's some in the, I guess, back east, right? And LA, San Diego, there was all over. There was, probably 5 or 6 that I looked at. But this was more geared towards professional detailing and entrepreneurs going through detailing success, not just showing you how to wax a car or how to bang out an interior, like barely, scrub the door handles, scrub the steering wheel, and dress the interior. That's like what they were teaching then. Now, I don't dress things. I clean things and protect them. And I want things to look like they're natural and clean. So I learned a different way of doing work, and we always evolve. We're always learning new things, but that was a great foundation for me going through detailing success. And it would be February of 2013 because my daughter will be 9 years old in a few weeks. So she was just a baby when I went to training.
Nice.
She was 3 months old. So
now with that aspect of it and it helping so much with your business, like you had covered, where does the IDA come in for you? Where does the IDA have a play for you?
Glad you brought up the IDA. Because the IDA kind of was, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into in the IDA. And the IDA, the industry had nothing as far as a organization for all detailers, not just like one little, like cliques within the detailing world of trainings and so forth. It was to represent everyone and to represent professionalism, and give us a foundation, right, of CD, certified detailer. You took a test, the basics. Doesn't mean you're going to be a great detailer if you can pass CD, right? Just means you're not going to mess up somebody's car. You have a good foundation. You understand the surfaces of a vehicle. Now, I was really excited when SV came out for a few reasons. One, I was invited to be part of that first SV class, which was awesome. And then it was also an honor to be, interviewed after with the guys, and we kind of talked through some of the, what did you think? Okay, well, I don't like how you asked this question. Maybe this is a better question. So it was fun to be the guinea pig for the first SV.
Yeah, help critique it.
It was awesome. I did that at Mobile Tech years ago. And it was great. And I really think the SV, we have something there, because now we know you're a skilled detailer. Your skills verified, you're validated. And it's been great because that is where we're going to separate the, I've been able to administer SVs under an RT before, and there's people we had fail. And it's not fun, but it's also like, okay, this person knew his stuff on the outside. He can paint correct and, make a car flawless. He didn't know anything about cleaning an interior. Didn't know anything about a, pH neutral, balanced alkaline acid. And so it did create a standard for the industry. And the IDA is moving along, and they've created other tests. I've been able to participate in that. I've been able to be a part of a committee, a chairman of a committee, which has been great. And right now I'm focusing on a few other things in my life. And so when those things, I feel like I've got them figured out, then I'll probably, jump back in and participate a little bit more in the IDA. It's kind of, you can give a lot and get a lot out of it. And then as you need to, come back and give more. Now, it's not perfect. It's not, going to change your business per se. You're not going to get customers because you have an IDA sticker on your van. But it does help you. It makes you legitimate. It allows you to talk about that. You can use that as a sales tool.
Absolutely.
Tell people about it, no one's going to go on and find the IDA website right now and say, oh, this guy's IDA certified, I got to use them. But no, when they come in your office or they go on your website and they see that you have certifications and they looked at other people and they don't, it may, it's going to help you. It's going to help you put people at ease that you have skills and you're confident in your skills and your business skills and you have ethics.
Or you've tried to validate the growth of your skills in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
No, and I agree that I think that's a space right there, whether it be CD or SV. And that's what I think tends to get confusing in the market amongst, I say more so the detailing community versus the consumer community, because consumers, if they frequently see the branding of the IDA, then they may be more familiar with it and tend to look into that and want to use somebody. But you're right, it's not what they're after at the gate. But within the detail community, some tend to throw shade on that because of, oh, he's CD or SV and he's doing this or he's doing that, the nitpicking stuff. And again, just because you have the certificate doesn't mean you're exercising those credentials to the integrity of what they are. That's on that individual person and who they are. Just like people go through college. Just because you go through college and get the degree doesn't mean now you're the best at that trade, craft, or whatever that degree had to offer.
I look at it like this. So I don't want people to see IDA everywhere. I want my customers to see that I'm IDA certified, maybe go on the website and verify that I am and stick with me. If I have a customer that is so familiar with the IDA because they've hopped from one detailer to another, I don't really want them as a customer anyways. I want them to say, oh, Kyle, Xtreme Detailing, they're certified, they're IDA, they're SV. That's my guy, and stick with us, and because, or if they're not happy with someone who was IDA and then they give someone else a chance, right? But it is that peace of mind to a customer that you've put time and effort into your business. Because look, even though we're a trade now, we're more legitimate. There's still a lot of unlegitimate businesses doing what we're doing. It's not hard for someone to go put a pressure washer in the back of a Toyota Tacoma and go out and wash cars. Doesn't make them a
No.
deep, but they're kind of flying under the banner of detailing. They're saying they're doing detailing. And that's why the IDA is so important, to separate us detailers who put it in the time and money into it versus the guys that are just washing cars, trying to be, but never like putting the money into themselves, investing in themselves to get there. Eventually they're going to have to figure it out and join up and take that leap, or they're just going to go away because they're not making any money washing cars for $25-30, and they're not going to make a living.
No.
So it does separate the wheat from the tares, per se, the actual detailers from the car washers, and those who, like, look, I wouldn't be here sitting on an airplane or under the wing of a 737 right now if I wasn't running a legitimate business. Couldn't happen.
No, they wouldn't let you in.
Insurance, those guys that are outside in the parking lot washing cars, looking in at us, cleaning these planes, wishing they could do it. They won't, because there's a reason why they're still washing cars, and maybe they want to, but they're going to have to make some choices in order to get there. And then they realize how much it costs. And then
just the effort in itself, right? You got to do work.
Being consistent. This didn't happen overnight. I didn't come after this. This was years of working for one company, which led for another company. And then an opportunity was, just said, hey, I didn't ask. They just said, hey, we have all these planes, come clean them. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. Where do I send the bill? That's about it. And so it does separate us, right? And people can get there. I'm not saying you're never going to do that. I'm saying you have to make some changes to do that. And just washing cars is not going to get you there.
No, the biggest picture is that, we have basically that association, that vessel, to say,
Yep.
that is leading the way, and it's the largest and it's the most legit vessel that the industry for us as detailers have. So that's an outlet, whether you want to plug into it or not. It's an outlet that's there, that's legit, and will help you in the efforts of going that same direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think a lot of people miss the boat on, because they look at things a little bit more skewed than the bigger picture of what it does for the industry.
Look, and there's things that I still want to do. Once you accomplish a goal, right, and you do it for a while, eventually you're ready for the next thing. Mm-hmm. That's the entrepreneurial spirit. And you want to not forget or move along. You just want to progress. And so now that I've done this, there's other goals that I have in the industry. Baby steps. I have friends that, wash cars in detail that have hired one person, and they tried it and they didn't work out for them. Then they're scared of it. Believe me, I've gone through a little hell and my own, and you have employees too. It affects you personally. Hiring and firing, and then dealing with unemployment and all that BS. You be careful what you wish for. Once you get what you want, it's not as easy, or not exactly what you thought it was going to be. And so you got to find that that happy place where you're at in your business. There's still things I want to accomplish. I'd love to be able to step away a little bit more and focus on other projects. So focus on, my I would say responsibilities with P&S, And I do give it a lot of effort, and I'm always on the phone dealing with those things, but I would love to spend a couple more days a month out visiting distributors.
Yeah, and
And do
that's something what you're saying now with the P&S stuff. That's something again, that opportunities, right?
Yep.
Getting involved. Like this is not an opportunity that you just like there was, you opened up a newspaper and now hiring P&S looking for a
No.
route. You know what I mean? This was relationships, this was
Yep.
involvement. There's so many moving parts that created this to be like, hey, Kyle. And then that
You
opportunity
knew
presented
all,
itself.
and you knew everything that happened before that opportunity happened. It's kind of, and you've had opportunities come to you. You and I've discussed it because it's kind of, there's been a few people in the industry that has made that transition from detailer to either sales rep or detailer to ambassador, or rep like you. And it's kind of uncharted territory. There's a very small percentage of people who've done it. And so you and I have talked about that. And I had an opportunity come to me to work for a company. I chose to pass on that, but that idea was in my head. And I had some conversations with some mentors, and they said, hey, why don't you write up a proposal? And I did that. And the relationships were already built, the friendships, the trust was there. And so when I wrote a proposal to the P&S, they said, that's a great proposal. Bob said, you can do those things. You can work on that specific thing. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but in the meantime, I need a rep in Southern California. I need someone who knows products, who's good at talking with people, and can be a friend and to our distributors, a resource. I need someone that can sometimes be a hard ass, sometimes just be the nicest person ever. And that's been great for me. It's worked out really well. I enjoy doing what I do as a sales rep for the Southern California area.
And it's networking, right? It keeps you out there, it keeps you fresh, it keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, every day. And and I took on more responsibility. I took on a little bit of the social media duties. I share that with Sydney and Bob because it helps my area. And it helps my distributors. It gets people to see them. I share everyone's social media, not just my area, but it's part of my responsibility that I took on because we needed that. P&S is growing fast, and so I wanted to be part of that growth and help steer the ship and keep constant content flowing from all these detailers, all these fans. P&S has tons of fans.
Oh yeah.
And not just detailers, but just people who love the product line, who love the people, who love the testing, the quality. Really, I mean, there's some things that I've been able to do with P&S, even product development. There's been a few products that Sydney and I have played with, and Rennie, and we were like, what the heck? You've had this product since 1987? This stuff's amazing. We got to show it off. I mean, that's how Kyle's happened. Let's talk about Kyle's for a second. Kyle's Boat and RV Store, kind of a joke how it happened, but not joke, but a little humor. So I was doing a fleet of school buses for a school district. I had like 75 school buses to polish. And I was using another brand of products. It was working good for me, but I wanted to know what P&S had. So I reached out to Bob Phillips, said, hey, what do you have that works great on fiberglass, on oxidation, on this? And he sent me a product. He said, this stuff's amazing. So I started using it on boats, started using it on RVs because I do a lot of boats and RVs down here. Next thing I know, we took that product and gave it a whole new direction. And now it's called Kyle's Boat and RV Restore. Now that was kind of Bob's idea. He said, you like it, we're going to call it Kyle's. And that's how that happened. It's because I found something that was amazing, that's been around a long time, probably sold well, but now it has a new focus and it still sells well in both categories. and it's doing great because I vetted it, right? I used it on hundreds of RVs and boats over years before, and I'm saying years before we actually put my face on the bottle, and that was all his idea. So that's
what is that product as far as like for somebody who may have interest in you speaking on it at this point? What does it do, and what's the purpose of it?
It's a finishing polish with a mild abrasive. It's very oily, has lots of polymers in it, has wax in it, and it is meant for light oxidation or fading on fiberglass surfaces like a boat, like an RV, that the fiberglass surface dries out. Southern California, everyone lets boats and RVs sit outside. It's meant to feed and rehydrate that surface to bring that shine back out. It's not a cut product. You can use it to cut if you want to use a URO-WOOL, a lamb's wool polish, which is my favorite pad for it, cutting and finishing. But it is meant for light to medium fading and dull oxidation. And it works great on old fiberglass and new fiberglass, on gray and tan and white fiberglass, what we call fiberglass reinforced plastic, for some of these newer RVs and trailers. And it works great on school bus hoods. That's why I got it from Bob. It works great on those fiberglass hoods on the Freightliner, or international hoods, because it's like a single stage, gel coat, and they oxidize. Yeah. So
little protection left behind.
Little bit of protection left behind. I mean, it's not gonna, you let your stuff sit outside in the sun and rot.
Yeah.
Right. It's not gonna do you a lot of good, for years, but it's gonna leave months of protection. You can follow it with Bead Maker. You can follow it with, we have a product called Challenger, which is a boat and RV wax, to add more protection. But that's kind of how it was pretty cool. It was just kind of, it was kind of a little bit of a joke, I guess. I wasn't really in on the joke. Bob was just like, oh, we're going to call it Kyle's. And that was interesting because that opportunity, that would not have happened if I would have, and I didn't realize this at the time, if I would have pursued another opportunity with a manufacturer that came up with me, that made me an offer. It would never have happened. So it's amazing how opportunities and relationships, are, and I've learned this from my mentors, are so important.
Yeah, no, that is probably one of the most important things. I mean, the craft itself is fun, right? Makes you money, but the relationships and everything that come with that, in the networking, there's no value on that, because that presents itself to things that come across that you may have never had the opportunity for, but that relationship created that.
Yeah, exactly. So all of those individuals that sit back and just detail and look at these other individuals in the industry that are moving and shaking and doing things, that did not happen because they were just sitting around. Justin didn't become the face of Buff and Shine and now and working with Auto Geek because Justin was good looking with tattoos. Justin made that happen. And it's been my pleasure and to watch that happen with you. I first remember meeting you, Air Force One. Dude had a big old like surfer, like
the cowboy hat with the IDA logo on it.
Yeah. Like
my wife hates that. Jessica hates that hat.
Yeah. Had a master on his shirt or something, and man, he came out and it was humbling. I remember you kind of got humbled there a little bit, but you listened to your mentors, and man, you exploded, and you got involved in the IDA, became IDA board member, IDA president. It takes work.
It does. It definitely takes some work.
And we all have our different passions. not something I was interested in doing. I want to serve. I wanted to give. That's why, I was happy to be a committee chairman. And we'll have different, highs and lows or opportunities come to us in time, but we just kept our nose to the grindstone of the industry and kept giving. And then it gives back. And then we're going to take for a little bit. And then we're going to give back. And that's just kind of how it is. But opportunities don't just come to you. They come to you when you've already put yourself in their way.
I think the biggest statement to that is owed to Rennie in regards to deposits and withdrawals, right? You continue to make deposits effortlessly without thinking about the withdrawal. And then eventually the withdrawals naturally happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've given a ton of deposits in the industry and in the network and the mafia for years. Sometimes we're gonna give more and take less, and sometimes we're gonna take more and give less. And that's okay, because there's always seasons in our life, and things will always change, and we have to focus on certain things. And so as we get older, we mature, we've realized that, I'm trying to help some of the younger guys that ask me these questions realize that sooner. Because I remember how it was to be where they are, and help them become better faster.
Now, with this level of involvement and how much time you've taken to grow to where you're at, do you feel that all those efforts have allowed you to buy time back for your wife, your life, and your girls?
Yeah, in some ways, because you have money is key to having, fun, right? You want to go somewhere, you want to do something, it's nice to have that. I've realized recently that I need to spend more time with my family. And I've been taking a lot more trips and doing things with my wife because I can now. I have a good crew right now. We went through a couple years of, some crap with COVID and employees and other employees. I had employees that didn't want to work. Right now, I have a good crew. I'm going to take advantage of that. I'm going to help build them up, help train them, teach them so that they can work on things while I'm not there. But they are also realizing too that I'm evolving, and I don't want to be in a scissor lift like I'm watching my main guy right now clean the side of this plane. That I want to be doing this stuff and growing and the business. So trying to get your business to a point where you have time to go do things with your family takes a lot of work, and it's hard. But when you get there, enjoy it, because it's not going to last. And then you'll have to dive back in again. I don't think any entrepreneur has it easy where he just sits back and watches his business making money. I have to jump in constantly. I have an employee that's sick or something. I have to jump in and totally messes your schedule up. I know entrepreneurs and business owners that run large companies that have to jump in a forklift sometimes and move some pallets. That is just part of the calling or of being an entrepreneur. So making the best time with your family is most important. I just got back from a trip with my wife. I'm home for a few days, and then it's Christmas, and we're off again for another family trip for Christmas with me and my wife and daughters and my family. So working my butt off has made those opportunities happen. But you can still have fun with your family if you don't have money. If you don't,
Oh yeah.
You just gotta, be creative. When COVID happened and they shut everything down in California, we didn't sit around, man. We took the side by side out into the mountains. We were around no one. We had a blast. We broke stuff, and we had, we had a lot of fun. We went to the beach. You couldn't park in the parking lot of the state park, but the beach was open. So we just parked and walked and, just had a good time. We sat at the beach and girls played in the water, and we weren't near anybody. Everyone was out. Everyone else was home, hiding under the covers. We were out enjoying life when no one was around. It was great.
That's awesome.
So, and I stayed working the whole time, and I kind of missed that COVID traffic, man. There was no one on the road. I could get everywhere I wanted. Oh shoot, I mean, CHP wasn't even pulling people over. I've never, my van was doing 85 down the freeway, and I was, barely seeing a car. It was great. So you just got to take, opportunities to spend time with your family, be creative, because I've realized more now than ever that my daughters are growing up, man. My daughter will be 9 years old in a few weeks. And I'm like, crap, man, in 9 more years, she'll be 18. And I don't want to miss that, time with her. Because they're awesome. I know you do the same thing. You and I chat sometimes. You're on your way home. All right, man, I just pulled in the driveway. It's family time. I'll talk to you later. I love it. That's what we got to do.
No, it's or that, or I get the hammer on me from my wife.
Got to do.
No, it's definitely balanced. So as far as time, we're getting close on time, or on time, I should say, with everything, Kyle. So give some of the viewers, details, anybody who's listening, some last words of advice directly from you, something you feel that would be really important, because you've covered a lot of really good subjects. You've, along the way of those subjects, given advice with that. But is there something that you would think that's important directly from you?
I've learned recently in the last probably 4 years, 5 years, my biggest thing is to become comfortable being uncomfortable, and to be okay with being okay with failing. I've always been scared to fail. It's one reason I've probably kept my business as small as it is, never grown and had a big shop, or even though I am looking for a place right now, constantly, but it's not, I'm looking for something very specific. But be okay, learn how to become okay with failure. And that, something I've always been scared of. So it's a process. It's taken years to be more comfortable with that. And then do hard things, become more comfortable being uncomfortable. And, a lot of people are scared to talk to their customers. A lot of people are scared to open their mouth and, say hello to someone nowadays. So we aren't very social, even though we have a thing called social media. So become comfortable talking to people, become comfortable starting conversation, and realize that nothing is going to come to you. And if it's easy, it's probably not, good for you or worth it. It's going to be hard work to achieve what you want. Read books. I'm not a huge reader, but when I'm working, I love listening to audiobooks. I remember everything I hear in audiobooks. I do not remember very much that I actually read. So if you're that kind of person, just fill your brain with knowledge, whether you read it or you hear it. And that's one thing I wish I would have learned at a younger age, is to learn to be that failure is okay and take risks, because I probably be further along than I am now. But then again, I like where I am right now. So I like the direction I'm going.
Very nice. And what's a good way of people to get a hold of you?
So at Xtreme Detailing Kyle on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram I'm on a little bit more often. I'll be honest, when I get on Instagram, I'm usually on P&S's Instagram. When I log in, I'm pretty much always logged into P&S's Instagram for resharing content. But I do check my Instagram DM. My business email is Kyle. Kyle at extremedetailingusa.com is my email for anyone for that. If it's P&S related, it's Kyle at pssales.com. Pretty simple. That one's easy. PS sales. But Instagram is probably where you're gonna get me, unless you email me. It's Xtreme Detailing Kyle. And yeah, man, I appreciate you letting me come on today, talk. We didn't really talk about paths much, but I did say I love the URO-WOOL.
Yeah.
That blueberry, those are my go-tos, man. You can correct anything with those two pads.
Well, the good thing I love about the podcast is everything's on the fly. It's not scripted. So, and it's not a pad driven or a brand, a product driven podcast. It's a people podcast. It's the industry. It's the people in the industry, whether it be the manufacturers, the CEOs, the owners, or us, just the technicians, just getting together and chatting about business, life, and detailing. And that's really what it's all about. And that way we could get the message across so people could see the hardship of how some come up in the industry, the story behind, and have more of a understanding and or respect for certain individuals that maybe only get seen as one way on social media.
It's funny. I recently learned that. I talked to someone that I reached out and talked to someone that thought I was cocky about something, and ended up realizing I wasn't in a good mood the day that I met this person. And we had a great conversation. And so yeah, it's nice to be able to get to know people, or them to get to know you. I like these opportunities to do this because it makes it easier later. I really like talking to people. I'll be at URO-TEC, the URO-TEC Expo in Florida at the end of January. So if you're watching this, come out, see me. I'll be there with P&S, probably a little bit of Buff and Shine. I am going to be teaching a class on RVs, on pricing RVs and services for RVs, help people get their pricing structure for RVs figured out. It's a constant question I get. And so if you're at URO-TEC or you're thinking about going, see me in Florida. We'll have a great time.
Awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you. Again, we have our guest here, Kyle Clark. This is Reflection Artist Live number 57, the week before Christmas. So that's just in a couple days. And so thank you, everybody who taken the opportunity. What's that, Kyle?
Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas. Everybody who's had the opportunity to listen and or watch now, thank you. Or, when you have the opportunity, thank you. And of course, Merry Christmas. And Kyle, Merry Christmas, bud. And I will talk to you either in a couple days or after. We're always connecting. So either way, but thanks for being on.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Kyle. Merry Christmas. And everybody else, Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.